Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm here on a photography trip with my buddy Jake. We're hiking our way up to Loch Vale, and we've actually just made a brief pit stop here at Alberta Falls, and it's pretty insane. Where we're standing would usually just be surging with water, would be swept away, but everything's nice and frozen, except for, I don't know if you can hear in the background, just a little bit of water that's flowing underneath that cap of ice that's behind us. So it should be a beautiful day. This is my second time hiking this in about a week. The first time I woke up at 2 a.m. I wanted to see sunrise at the loch, and it just did not come together. It looked like a little bit of cotton candy in the sky, but that's about it. And it was 0 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour wind. So it was not the best. It wasn't the most comfortable shooting conditions, we'll say that. But what's nice about today is it's totally the opposite. We got a reasonable start about 5 a.m. and we're supposed to be getting snow. It's actually just starting to dust on us a little bit right now. So we're not chasing the light. We're not running up the mountain to try and catch those sunrise colors. We're taking our time. We're getting to enjoy a little bit more of the landscape, and we're going to try and get maybe some more minimalist shots as those clouds roll over those craggy peaks that are summiting at the very top of that lake. So it should be a good day. And once we get up there, we'll introduce the theme of this video. I'm pretty excited about it. So let's keep hiking. For any of you glasses wearers and photographers out there, you'll know just the absolute joy of having to put your glasses into the eyepiece of a camera. Well, the good news is there's no break from it at all when you're hiking either, especially in the winter. You just get this like Ebenezer Scrooge look, or maybe more of like a weary-eyed accountant with your glasses super far down on the bridge of your nose. So it's always a good look, especially for YouTube, right? Let me know, comment below. Just to give everyone a little bit of context of exactly what part of Rocky Mountain National Park we're exploring today, we're in what's called the Bear Lake Corridor. So that road that winds throughout the frame there, if you were to continue up, it eventually takes you to Bear Lake, which is a beautiful trailhead for some backcountry camping, exploring. I took a couple trips there this past summer and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, parts of that were touched pretty considerably by the wildfires that came through the park. Where we're at specifically today is the Glacier Gorge trailhead on our way up to Loch Vale, and it's a spectacular view. I'd highly recommend any time that you're here, maybe after COVID, to come and check out this Loch Vale hike. You can continue even farther on the same trail and see Sky Pond, which is at the base of these really jagged peaks. It's really something to see. So anyways, just wanted to share this is exactly the part of the park that we're in today. Well, we finally made it to our destination here at Loch Lake, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The hike in, it was lightly snowing the entire time. And if you've ever hiked in the snow, you know, there's like a certain serenity, a tranquilness, there's like a stillness in the air. It made for an awesome hike in. And now that we're here at the lake, just looking around, there's so much to shoot. You almost don't know what to point your camera at. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is when you go to a location, especially when you're making the effort, you're hiking in, you're getting up early in the morning, You want to tell the complete story of that location, because for the viewer, it's going to give them basically the sense that they were along with you too. Right? It's going to communicate that emotion that's very specific to the location that you visited. So a lot of times that's hard to do with just a single image. So what I would encourage you to do is when you roll up, your first inclination may be to shoot that really wide, grand landscape. And absolutely do that. I'm about to do that here in a couple minutes. But also, once you have that grand landscape shot, maybe a panorama in the bag, continue to hunt around for compositions that have maybe a little more detail. Maybe you're focusing a little bit more on your feet, those nuanced bits of the landscape, because those are unique details as well. They're going to communicate that experience to the audience. So for instance, this lake freezes so quickly and it's typically so windy that when it freezes, it doesn't freeze flat. It freezes completely in those ripples that are made from the wind. Well, that's unique to these high alpine lakes of Colorado. It's not that grand landscape, but it's going to be something very visually compelling, and it's going to communicate the experience of being there. Let me show you what I mean. So I mentioned that capturing a grand landscape composition can be an important part of your storytelling with your landscape photography. And I think I found the composition that is going to fit that bill for me today. What I really like about it is it incorporates a couple of the elements that are really unique to this Loch Vale area. In the background, we have this huge jagged peak, and then our eye is being driven into the scene by these snow drifts. Now, they're created when it snows on the lake. Then you get those 30, 50, 70 mile an hour gusts, or even more at times. And those winds carve these channels into the snow and create really strong, dynamic shapes that lead your eye nicely into that background element of the mountain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get really low to the subject, as you can see here with my 16mm lens. And I'm going to use f8. I'm going to focus stack, maybe take 1 or 2 shots for the foreground and then work my way all the way into the background so that I can get that sharp image. So after we take this shot, we're going to see what else we can find. Now, one of my favorite things about this lake in particular is the way that it freezes. The temperatures get so cold that it freezes so fast, and with the high winds that you get in this area, instead of freezing flat, as you can see here, it actually freezes with these beautiful ripples on top. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say to photograph some of those smaller, more intimate details of a landscape that are truly unique to that experience. I love how some of these ripples actually mirror the topography of the surrounding mountains. It almost looks like a topographical map or an elevation map or something like that. So this is the kind of detail I want to be photographing. So let's set up the camera. So I found a section of these frozen ice ripples that I really like. There's peaks on either side that creates almost this valley in between them. And then in that valley, there's an ice crack that just shoots all the way down it, which is pretty cool to me. Now, we don't have much light. As you can see, it's snowing a bit more. The clouds have really rolled in, but that's fine. Shooting these intimate landscapes are less dependent on light, and they can be equally as dramatic, especially if you just do a little touch-up work in post-production. So the only thing I'm doing, honestly, it's kind of similar to what I was shooting before, 16mm lens down really low, except I'm not going to be focus stacking anything. I like that shallow depth of field. I'm focusing right in front of the lens, and that focus fall off, it almost creates a larger sense of depth and brings a little more scale, maybe even, to the landscape itself. So we're just going to take this image and I'll put it on the screen here. Well, we just finished up at Loch Vale and started our hike down back to the car. The light has come, the light has gone. We had blue skies for a little while, which was kind of wild in between these different snowstorms and fronts coming in. But now it's pretty well covered over again, and we're getting some snow. So it's about time for us to make our way home and check out what these images look like on the computer, which is always super exciting. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watched this far in the video. Thanks again for coming on another adventure. Hopefully you enjoyed it. My lips are totally not working because it's so cold. But I really appreciate the views. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.